Hello all again. It is that time of the week, midweek. More Spurs news to talk about, more gossip, more transfer potentials. As we do on Paxton Road TV, we like to go through and have a bit of a chat. So we're going to do this talking points. Oh, we've got to look down because I can't find where the music is, but I found it. Here we go. Hello, welcome to Paxton Road TV, PRTv. I'm Sam Spurs for Life, and this is episode number 98 of the only talking show that gives you all of this and more. What all of this is, I don't know, but I'm just saying that. I'm just talking messy. Talking points number 90. Yeah, I can hear that man in the background laughing at me as I'm making stuff up. This is what we're going to be doing. Do we need backup? Computer says yes. As we know, we've got a few signings in already. James Maddison's probably the best of the lot so far. Keepers in as well. But there's more talk. There's more talk of another midfielder. But we need defenders, people. Centre backs particularly. And I'm joined in the house by the one and only. Here he is. Sean Hurl, PRTV's own. Tottenham Tifosi. Was it Tifosi?
Tifosi.
61. Welcome, Sean. How you doing, my friend? Words.
All right. Trying to keep off of Twitter because it's driving me mad. I've never known a fan base that tip into each other like a Tottenham fan base. But anyway,
never satisfied. Never satisfied.
No, never satisfied. And I'm prepared to give credit when credit's due. And everyone seems to have an agenda nowadays. So. including me. So hands up. You know.
No, we've all got our agendas. We all want different things from the team. We all see things slightly differently. One thing as I think we should all unite, though, is behind the manager. Because at the moment, he's not even had a chance to play a game. He's been in the building officially since July the 1st. He's been working in the background probably before then. And he's taken a few training sessions, and Tottenham put out a little bit of clips as they do to kind of show you everything's hunky-dory in Tottenham way as it is. And to be fair, the players look like they're just getting on with it, those that are there. So all you can hope for is that they develop over this next month or so, and he gets to make the decisions who stays and who goes. Not us, as there's a lot of players in that squad that we all think shouldn't be there, that they need to go. But this is a new manager. This is a new regime. This is a new start for Spurs. And we want to see players that maybe didn't get much of an opportunity under the previous regimes given an opportunity at least to see where they're at, because we know it's going to be a bloody hard bit of work, hard bit of graft for some of these players to play in the Ange Postecoglou system. Just go through then with me what you know so far this week in terms of the centre-back rumours. Mickey van der Ven, Wolfsburg. Tapsoba, I'm not sure of his first name. What's his first name? I can't remember.
Edward
Tapsoba.
Yeah.
So for Kino, he's an international player, 24 years of age, I think. Mickey van der Ven, 22 years of age, left-sided player. Both can play on the left side of centre-back, but Mickey van der Ven is left-footed predominantly and can play left-back as well. Of the two, if there is a choice, obviously, I think we all agree we'd like to have two centre-backs in. Would those two be the first choice of yours, Sean?
Given what that we're not in the same market this season, this season as we were maybe last season, or should have been last season with Champions League. I think they seem suited to playing what I expect and to play, which is a high line. Van der Ven. Everyone's seen the YouTube clip where he basically runs from one 6-yard box to the other to stop a player through on an open goal. So, he looks nippy, and that's what we're going to need because we've got fridges in the middle of our defences at the moment. And, certainly any defence that's conceding 63 goals needs to be looked at. So, still my eyes, look heavenwards when I keep seeing us linked with a cheap deal for Longley, who, other than being comfortable on the ball, is no quicker than anyone else. In fact, the only one with a bit of pace is Sanchez, and we know that he's terrible when he's on the ball. So, it's hard to tell. I'm watching the social media, the club's social media. They seem to be playing at a pace. Lots of people complaining, they should be doing lots of running to get fit. Well, that's not Postecoglou's way. He likes to put 70 minutes of ball work in to get the fitness, because that's how he wants to play. So we'll see. I'm of the two, I like them both. Tapsoba maybe slightly more. I think he's much more developed. He's much more, closer to being the finished article. Van der Veen has got some kinks or some doubts about him, but maybe that's us actually anticipating that he will develop and he'll become we're getting them early, and that's a good thing, I think.
Good sign. Postecoglou is known for developing players. We've seen that he can go into different markets and get players in that match his system, and this is the important thing for me. You've got to get players in that he thinks match his system, not that we think are good for the club. And this is the problem that I seem to think with the fan base a lot of, he's not that good. I'm not going off at you, Dino. I'm just saying, we as outsiders looking in kind of think we know best. I think I know best at times, thinking I've got a bit of background in coaching and this player should come in and this player shouldn't be in. But we don't see them day to day. We don't see the attitudes. We don't see what they go through on a personal basis. We don't know what's going on in their transfer life. What I mean by that is our agents in their ear telling them they need to move, whatever it is. Are they trying to get pay rises? There's so much of a complex compilation of things that could cause players not to perform at their best for whatever manager they play for. Now, they've had a few weeks off. They've come back. By all accounts, they all look happy. I'd be happy if I was going to the lodge, by the way, because it's very nice down there anyway. So, they're in an environment where they are now got something to prove for a lot of these players. And I hope that they are given enough time to prove themselves. The way that he's coaching, I agree with it. It's about ball work. You can do a lot of stamina work, a lot of intense fitness work using the ball. I've never really got this thing where you need to be running laps and all that. When do you ever run laps in football? You don't. You do sprinting. You've got to be ball work. You've got to be positional sense. So you get your fitness by doing a lot of that stuff. Yes, you need to increase your stamina, and that can come through various ways, but you don't have to be doing running laps and all the rest of that sort of jazz. So just watching them do what they're doing, that's what I want to see. I want to see them do one touch, two touch football, because that's how you're going to break presses. You want to see the energetic way that they're sprinting, because that's what you do in football. It's not about long run. It's about short sprinting. It's a completely different type of fitness if you play a certain type of game. Obviously, when they were doing the stuff which the Turin Troll was doing and you're playing from the back, yes, you need to be very, very athletic to go from back to front very quickly. We're hoping that this style of football that Postecoglou has means that we can strangle players, not literally strangle the opponents in areas, and we can then break quickly. So I'm cool with it until I see what we do pre-season and then obviously going into the season. Of the two players then, I'm thinking we need both of them, if I'm honest with you. Who would you then ship out, or who would be the first one to be shipped out if we were to say, let's say, okay, let's play this game. We get one in, one out. Van der Ven comes in. Who needs to go out? Because we need to lose a defender.
Sanchez.
Who's the first one? I need to cough.
The reason I say Sanchez is that there's interest in him. Galatasaray have already offered us some money for him, so let's develop that deal. Let's get him, out the door. He seems quite happy to go. I'm probably sure he'd rather go to Spain rather than Turkey, but as far as I know, it's Galatasaray that have come in from. So big team in Turkey.
Yeah. and there's some good points coming in. Kim's got a good point here. Yeah, we might get 2 in and get 2 out, but then what does that do to the depth of the squad? I've seen quite a few different podcasts talking about, yes, if we have a starting backline, let's say that's possibly, I thought he's got his name. Right back. What's his name again? I forgot.
Porro.
His name. No, not Porro.
Spence.
Emerson Royal. So let's say I'm going to start with Emerson Royal. Then we've got centre back of Romero. Let's say we have Van der Ven, let's say. And then left side, we still got a little bit of a problem on the left side because I'm not quite sure that Ben Davies should be starting. I think Ben Davies is a good squad player, but I'm not sure Ben Davies should be starting. So therefore, Deji comes into that mix as a new player, but we haven't seen him as yet. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be him as the starting. If you then have an injury to Romero, you have an injury to, let's say, Van der Ven, you have to then think about Eric Dyer playing in there. You then have to consider Yaphet Tanganga. And it soon becomes apparent that the squad depth isn't there. So we do need to get more than one centre-back in my opinion. And I think those two being the ages that they are, 22, 24, both with the athletic abilities and also that style of playing comfortable on the ball but recovery well, I think we need to get 2. Sanchez, if we can get money for him, yeah, he can go. If we get 2 in, I think we're going to have to lose 2 because I don't think we can balance the books otherwise. Who would be the other one then?
No, again, I think Tanganga's got interest in Italy with Atalanta. So it's who's ever going to offer some money. I think because we need it's a book balancing thing as well. Yeah. We have to remember also that there's a number of players who are yet to come back, and they were out on loan last season. So. Or they were out playing international, so that's why they've been delayed. Yeah, I mean, if we can do more deals like we did for Harry Winks, even better. It's there does seem to be a thought going into this. I know everyone's really down on Dyer, but he's going to be difficult to move because of his wages, I think. And also he holds the cards because he's in the last year of his contract.
Yep.
I'm not aware that there's an interest in him. So it'd be those that have decided who are interested in our players that we get rid of. But we're definitely going to be. I'm not for rushing Dyer out the door, and the reason I say that is because and I've said it in the WhatsApp chat, is that Dyer has the ability to be really stoic on occasions, really, really good, central defender. He also has some times when he's terrible and he's got a terrible left foot. We might need his experience. I mean, the one thing about the squad is that it's becoming rejuvenated. We're getting players now, early 20s, mid 20s. So yeah, I think I'm not rushing to send Dyer out, but if someone came in for him, yeah, he would. I would bite the hand off.
It will make a lot of people mad when they hear you say things like that. It doesn't make me mad because I understand the meaning of that. It's going to be very difficult to shift a player out who has got 1 year left on his contract unless he wants to go and he's somewhere that someone's going to pay his potential wages. So he's probably going to sit there for the next year. His value in terms of his value on the transfer market is going to be low because of the 12 months that's left. He's not Harry Kane, so he's not going to command that sort of figure. If we were to get something like 5 to 10 million for him, potentially that's probably what I would expect. I don't think you're going to get any more than 10 million for Eric Dyer. 15 million. No, I don't think he's done enough to be able to garner that. But you don't know. Football's crazy. People do pay money. So I think he's going to sit there for the next 12 months. He would be a backup to Romero for me on the right side. Mm-hmm. As I said, in a back two, I have some real scary thoughts about him playing on that left side. Playing on the back two in general, but playing on the left side of a back two,
but remember, But remember, also, we're going to be doing our defending much higher up the pitch.
True.
That's what, but you know, it's about strangling their attackers, which for the vast majority of the Premier League will get away with. It's only when you come up against the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Arsenals, that that might be a bit of a struggle. But let's remember that, you know, it's about recovering the ball as early as possible. So the 2-8s, you know, the centre forward and the wingers have a defensive role to do as well.
It's recovery then. So the centre backs, hence the reason why they're looking at pace, is because, as you said, we're playing higher up the pitch now. We're hoping to strangle teams and keep them in that area of the pitch. If they then break that press, that's when it's going to be a ball over the top, ball through, in order for somebody into the channels, for somebody from the opposition to run into those channels. And if they've got quick players and quick in a transition, we're going to need quickness of thought and quickness of recovery to get back. That's my concern with Dyer. I think he's relatively quick. He's not lightning quick, but it's when he gets back into them position, I don't think he makes the right decisions. 1v1 as well. Go on.
I was going to say, I still have visions of that backing off of in the Leicester game. Yeah. What was he doing? What was he doing?
I don't know. And this is my
sometimes
point.
you know sometimes you just have to go and approach the player. If he beats you with a trick, you know, fair enough. But you've got to try and stop him.
You can't back off on the 18-yard box and back into your area and expect a player not to shoot if you're the last man. That's the point. So in the back two, he's going to be the last man predominantly a lot if he's playing on the right side or wherever he's playing. He's going to have a number of 1v1s. That's my concern. We need defenders who are comfortable.
And of course, we're hoping that it'll be Romero most of the time.
It has to be. It has to be because, So this is what I'm saying. If it was Romero and then we had someone like Tapsoba as the fighting for positions on that right side, comfortable with that. If then we've got on the left side of the centre back, we've got Van der Ven, another. Potentially that another. If you bring in someone like Longley, he's more comfortable on the ball. And as you just mentioned, if we're playing higher up the pitch, you would expect possibly to have more of the possession and not necessarily be isolated 1v1. But his recovery does scare me. So I still think even if we get two defenders, unless Ange can do something with those defenders that are there, i.e. the Rodens that might come back, the Yaffets that might come back, then I still think we're a little bit short. But he might do wonders. What's your thoughts on the Fulham links to? Is it Tosin that we're linked to?
I don't really know much about the player other than I think he's a Man City academy graduate. He's had a very good season. But I think again he's in his last year of his contract. So, you know, it brings the price down, and I think that's attractive to us. I think at the moment, I'm not really qualified to talk about him. I mean, I do like homegrown players, you know, and we do have an issue with homegrown numbers. So, you know, we need to address that as much as possible as well. And of course, I mean, I know Kim's been in the chat saying about squad depth. Yeah, squad depth is really, really important when you've got European competition. We don't have European competition. You know, we could have 23, 24 players like in the old days of Pochettino and, you know, get through a season with just domestic football. So I mean, you know, there's so many factors to factor in, and it's why I think, you know, the madness of the fans sort of, you know, pulling each other apart about it. You know, I just would rather let the coach get on with it. I have confidence in him. I think he's got something about him which sort of says, you know, you might doubt me, but I don't doubt myself, and I'm going to make this work. You know?
100%, and it's not arrogance; it's confidence. There's a difference. I looked at the Turin troll, and you look at his interviews now, and I look back at some of them, and there is an arrogance to it. No, I'm not saying there is a place for it. There is a place, and obviously in football, there is a borderline between confidence and arrogance. But sometimes when you couple that with some of the things that he kind of said in the interviews, it was almost like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here, sort of thing. I'm just giving all this information, and didn't come across towards the end. Obviously, we saw the breakdown in communication completely, but it was almost like, as we've talked about before, he was doing us a favor with Antonio Conte. I've watched that interview after what you told me, and I'm really happy to hear what I heard. Yes, there's confidence. Yes, he's not here to make up numbers. He's here to win. My system that I put in is entertaining football. It works. It's worked wherever I've been. I expect it to work here, and it will work if players, because we've seen it with clubs lesser so than us. We've seen it with the likes of Aston Villa. We've seen it with the likes of Brentford, Brighton, all who finished above us last season. So there is no way that people can tell me that if you don't employ someone that knows how to coach and coaches well and gives confidence, that these players can't do it. Because I look on paper, and I know it's a dangerous game to do, but on paper, even now, our squad is better, I think, than someone like Brighton's. Even now, it's better than someone like Brentford's. Even now, better than someone like Villa's. We're looking at the likes of Newcastle, Man United, and they're on obviously the next tier, but we can still compete with those teams if we play a certain attractive type of football that's winning football as well. But it's going to be some ups and downs, people. There is going to be some ups and downs. As you know, Sean, it's going to be interesting as we go into the season. The last bit of rumours in terms of the transfer stuff before we touch on a bit of the Harry Kane info that's kind of popping in and out of. I'm looking on my screen here. Solomon, the Shakhtar Donetsk / Fulham player. I've been reading that, Shakhtar Donetsk were almost trying to come to some sort of arrangement, because apparently when the Ukrainian players that were allowed to leave, basically their contracts were suspended or paused at that point. They were time lapsed. So his contract is effectively run out, and he's a free agent. Shakhtar, as I would do in any walk of life, you're losing an asset here through no fault of your own, and they want some sort of compensation. I don't know how they're going to get it, or whether there's some court of appeal, whether there's something they can do, or whether they're going to come to some agreement with Spurs. What's your thoughts on the play, and what's your thoughts on the situation in terms of that whole Shakhtar Donetsk, Ukraine, Fulham sort of saga?
Yeah, I can understand. Shakhtar spent a lot of money getting the guy out of Israel to join them, but all the foreign nationals who were in the Ukrainian league had their contracts voided, so that they could continue to play, and that's why Fulham picked him up from Shakhtar. I have my reservations, sometimes not just for football reasons, but also for the fact that he had a big injury last year. He did score 5 goals, but I think 4 of them came in consecutive games, and he had no goal assists, and he's going to be expected to play wide, and Postecoglou. I think there are better players available to him, and my other concern is the stopping of the development of our academy. Now, I thought it was a key thing was to make it, that there's a pathway from the academy to the first team. So I know, for example, Alfie Devine doesn't play at exactly the same position, but certainly he played off the left when he played in that cup tie, under Jose. And if now he's gonna have an extra body in front of him, is that going to do it? And we've got to keep these kids happy, because we know what happens. Romain Rundle's off to Belgium. We've lost Madioka is now at Chelsea via PSV. We lost Mark Ande to Blackburn. So it's not a, we need. And we've got some very talented kids, particularly at 18s and 17s from last season, which won those trophies. I want our kids to get in the game, come into our team as well. I just think we're better for it. We're better for it, for having our kids come through.
If they're good enough, they should be given an opportunity. Mm-hmm. We've got players that I think, because of the old regime not being too confident or not wanting to, or proving a point, wherever it was. They didn't want to play some of the youngsters that we had. Didn't even give them opportunities. We saw even the likes of Jed Spencer, who I wouldn't consider to be a youngster, but certainly a player of a young player that didn't even get a chance. And it was big prospects for him. And we've said, and you just mentioned about a number of players that are in the academy, they're in the development squad that have had to move on because they just don't get chances to play at Spurs. I don't know what's going to happen because of the fact that we haven't got European football, so there might not be as much opportunity for them to play as we've mentioned already. And it's difficult for Postecoglou not to think that he's going to be under pressure, because he is. He's in the Premier League now, so even if it's just pressure, he's going to be under pressure. Now, I think having been at one of the two big clubs in Scotland, that kind of, he's expecting that and he knows how to deal with it, because you know yourself, being from up in those climates, it's a lot when you play for Celtic and Rangers.
It's a goldfish bowl. It's a goldfish bowl, and it does prepare you for scrutiny. You know, the scrutiny that Ange came under from the Scottish press is no less than he will get from the English press when he moved. You know, I think his first press conference is on Monday, by the way. So you know, we'll get the first time to face the media.
I'm hoping he has the sort of effect, and although I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I hope he has the same effect that Jurgen Klopp has on the press. You know what Jurgen Klopp's like. He's always very smiley, got his teeth done, and all the rest of it makes sure he's smiling, and he says things that makes everybody laugh. And even when he loses, nobody really gives him too much grief, and he can do what he wants almost within reason, as opposed to some others, like, you know, when we saw with Conte, they can prod him, they can poke him, they can get him to kind of say things, and that's what he did when he had his meltdowns. He had two meltdowns: the Burnley meltdown, and obviously the Southampton one as well. So we know that, you know, Postecoglou looks very controlled in what he's doing, but he's got confidence about him. I like that. I like the way he handles, from what I've seen in some of the press conferences in Scotland. He was really good, but he's also. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, I also like the fact that he's talking to these individuals before they come. You know, and you can see that in Maddison's interview. He said, you know, if you come or not, you're going to be a different Tottenham Hotspur this year. You know, so it was like, you know, it's up to you whether you come, but it's going to be different. You know, and I think that really, that you can see that had an effect on Maddison. You know, it sort of said, yeah, I kind of like that. I like that kind of, you know, backing yourself, kind of like I do. You know, and he spoke to Vicario in Italy, and his dad's reported back that, you know, they got on really well, and he was praising him for his, you know, his rise from the bottom, a bit like me, you know, and you know, that kind of empathetic sort of, you know, attitude, you know, and I'm sure it's the same. You know, from what I understand, he's already spoken to Van der Veen, even though the deal isn't done, and we'll see. You know, I mean, I'm really hoping that it's you know, we give him a chance. He gets a chance. He's got a tough start. I mean, his first home game couldn't have been a tougher one, particularly if it's a high line thing. You know, you got Rashford, and who else will be? I mean, whoever Man United pick up, that'll be a test. But you know, I'm sure he's up for it.
I'm pretty sure he's up for it. I definitely. It's very early days, and we do have to wait for the transfer window to close to kind of know where we are. But the first game of the season will start. I'm hoping that we get all our business done before pre-season finishes. I don't think we're going to get it done before they go away on tour, because that's going to be next week or certainly week after. But there is a possibility that they could get a couple of deals wrapped up in the areas which we need, which is definitely the centre-back areas. Some of those other positions, as we mentioned, there's players that have come back, and with the likes of Ndombele, which we've mocked about, the likes of Region.
Did what you talk about Ndombele? Did you see the picture? Did you see the still where Ange was just looking at him, just looking at Ndombele, and everyone was saying, "Caption this, caption this." I just thought, you better run, boy. You better run.
It's going to be interesting. It's because he's not going to take any piss. He will say it like it is. I think his man management skills are the best I've seen for a long time from what I saw at Celtic, and I've seen quite a lot of the interviews and quite a lot of the stuff that's going around on social media about how he's and his background as well. That's the other thing. He comes from a very working class sort of background. His upbringing wasn't necessarily from a footballing background, but he wanted to be a footballer and all the rest of it, and he wanted to learn the game. When you're that sort of age, and that school thing when he was 12 or something, and he ran his school team and they won whatever it was, the under 17, I can't remember, but it was the anecdote in that was that he's a winner from young, and regardless of where he's been, it's been the same attitude. All I hope is that we as fans we as fans give him the opportunity. She's late, but we're going to add her in anyway. She's on her phone, so she must be somewhere. She's definitely in the house. Pav, welcome. We're half an hour through. We've got 20 minutes left, but it's all right. We'll stretch it out a little bit.
I'm
We're just
sorry.
on the old transfers. No, it's no problem. No need to apologise. How are you doing anyway?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, a bit of a delay. It's all right. No problems. We'll deal with the delays. No worries. Where are we at now? Before we move on then.
That's a good point from Kevin there. Anyone in the under 21s looking good? Yeah. I mean, there's been some good words said about Divine and Niall John and a few of the guys have stand a chance of getting on that plane to go to Australia. So
I think he'll take a few youngsters with him.
I think he will, definitely. Yeah, definitely will.
It's going to be interesting who he does take on that plane. Pat, we're just talking about obviously pre-season now, getting the players in, linked with centre-backs. We definitely need centre-backs now. Just on that then, just to get your thoughts on the rumours that are circulating. Mickey van der Ven, Edward Tapsoba, not Tapsoda as I called him previously, Tapsoba. There's Tosin from Fulham. There's even talk that Barcelona have said that they were going to reach a full agreement with Spurs regarding to Clement Longley. There's also a potential, again, I don't like to go rooms, I'm going to say it anyway because we're on a chat show podcast, of Laporte from Manchester City, which is a very long shot. How many centre backs do you think we need in this transfer window, Pav?
2. I'd say 2. Firstly, get rid of Eric Dyer and
he's not going. I told you he's not going nowhere.
I know. We can only hope. But the Van der Ven rumor that's going around, I actually do hope that it happens because I think he'll be great for our team. We're not going to know until pre-season how he is like and how he fits with Ange's. His way of playing, but I think it will be definitely any good. And in terms of Longley, I don't like him. Get rid of him. I'm not being funny or nothing. I just don't think he's the right.
He's not here, so we can't get rid of him.
Could he be gone for Eric Dyer? Yeah, I know.
He's a Barcelona player.
Better fit than Eric Dyer. Who knows? I know, but if we're signing him permanently, then
Yeah. Again, if it's just a cut price deal that Spurs are looking for, and it's not really what Ange wants, again, it's giving us those sort of vibes that is there a money thing going on because of obviously not having European football this season, blah 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 blah. And if they do want to keep Harry Kane, you can understand, and we'll get onto that next because that'll be the next topic. You can understand why they potentially might not be spending that much money now because they're not got this money coming in from Harry Kane. Because usually that's what you find. Teams will spend the money beforehand, and we've seen that before with the Gareth Bale saga, and then sell their best asset. I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Harry Kane. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the near future, but probably those parties involved, Harry and Daniel Levy. But I'm hopeful that he will be here because it doesn't make sense with the Bayern Munich stuff. Now, moving on to Harry Kane, I'll start with you, Pav, on this. There is rumours again circulating that he's been offered a lucrative new contract to stay at Spurs, but he's in no hurry to sign it. And why would he? Now, what's your thoughts? Do you think Spurs, what sort of numbers do you think Spurs are offering? Currently, he's on 200k a week. just over £10 million a year. That's a lot of money in anybody's books, but obviously not enough. What do you think they must be trying to offer him?
No, I think I've definitely more than that. But do you know what? I'm going to say it. I do see him staying for the next season, but seeing his contract out. However, on the flip side, could be that, these rumours are true and that he will end up signing a new contract. But I think he's reluctant now because he doesn't know how the next season is going to play out. He doesn't know how Postecoglou is. It could be the case that, he sits back and he's like, right, I'm not going to sign it yet. Give me time. Let me see how Postecoglou is working his magic. If I like it, I'll happily sign a new contract. If I like what I'm seeing, I'll do it. But it could be the case that, he's like, I'm fed up, I'm going to go. But I don't see him leaving at this point. I see him either signing a new contract, waiting a bit and signing a new contract, or waiting until his contract is, he can walk out on a free. If he does sign a new contract, it'll be Spurs paying him a hell of a lot more.
Listen, there's something special going on here. I want to come to Sean next, but there's something special going on here. Oh, it's special. He's back. I've got to change position. Sorry, Sean. I apologise for this. I don't mean to do it, but I feel I can't do it. My OCD doesn't allow me. But I have to put him up there. It feels better. There's no promotional. It's just that it just feels strange if I see him down. Anyway, that said, oh no, you can't. What? You gone off camera with that? Oh, Sean, you need to come back on soon. Oh, change that thingy in the background. Do you know what?
How do I do that?
Oh,
those cheeky.
You need to,
so-and-so.
Yeah, you need to press them 3 buttons next to it and then edit avatar, whatever it is, blah blah blah. Because we can't have that lot on here. Anyway, welcome, Sid. What's going on? You and Pav decided to turn up fashionably late to the show. What's going on?
You know what? I'm doing a Tottenham. I'm going late. I'm delving late into the transfer market. So I thought I'll come in late on this one now as well.
I'll come to you in a minute then. I'm going to get Sean. Firstly, Sean, give us your thoughts on what Dino's asking you here, and then talk to me about the Harry Kane possible rumours of new contract. What do you think he's going to do in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, that is widely reported that he doesn't have long one-to-one conversations with players whilst training. However, he does have, he's very much of the collective. So he'll have the whole team in, and he'll have the board up, the screen up, and he'll be saying, there's that classic one where I think Australia conceded a goal, and he's going 1, 2, 3. So he's pointing to players without actually singling them out, saying there's no way they should be getting the shot off there. So he does have conversations with players, but yeah, it's true that he's not one for long pitch side conversations. He wants to see. He sees it as a collective. It's more of a it's the whole flow thing, and I think that works for him. And he's had success wherever he's gone. I don't see it any different.
I don't see any different. I want him to use his methods. I want the players to respond to the methods. So I've seen our players initially respond, and then for some reason they don't progress. They digress, and it seems like some players have probably been at the club too long, and maybe they've seen too much, and they think, I don't want to do this again. But surely we've given an opportunity now for a manager that wants to play attacking football, entertaining football. Surely that's what most footballers want to do. Play attacking football, score as many goals, be the team that wins most of the games. I can't see them saying, oh, no, we want to go back to the old style where we sit back and just play. No, I can't see that. Just addressing that Harry Kane thing. From what you said, Pat, I can't see him signing the contract now. There's no need. Provided the club don't say to him, right, this offer's on that table for a limited period of time up until like Christmas or something, and we're taking it away. Why would he sign? He could sign even after his contract ends at the end of next season. It doesn't matter. As long as he's signed before he plays, that's great. I think he's going to make sure that he has every opportunity available, unless, of course, these rumors about buying are true and he wants to go and all the rest of it, but it doesn't make logical sense to me. What's your thoughts on the lucrative deal? Do you think that Harry Kane is going to be tempted to sign, or what would you do in this situation?
Who are you asking?
That was Sean first. Then I'll come to you after that, young Sid.
Are you on me? Go on, Sean.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a double your money in this contract that Tottenham have offered him. They'll bust the wage thing to keep him, and you know, if it's not signed before December, I think from January he can speak and agree a deal with clubs outside of England. So we could hear in January that he's done a pre-contract with Bayern. And that may depend on how the season's going. You know, it may be as simple as that. If we're having a rotten season, things haven't worked out, God forbid, touch wood, it doesn't happen. But, Postecoglou has proved to be a gamble that hasn't worked, then, he may well just decide. I could see him going to Bayern. He's not going to get into Real. He's not going to get into...
even on a free at Real, even on a free, because I think if Real could get him for nothing, they could pay him 400 grand a week. I think he would be an asset to any team in world football.
Yeah, but they want Mbappe. They want Mbappe. There's more longevity in Mbappe. And then where does he? He doesn't fit in there because they've got Vinny Jr., Mbappe, and.
I still have the thoughts there. A player like that, if he comes available for nothing, guaranteed goals, it's a no-brainer. Sign him on a 2-year contract. You know what I mean? For me, if I was Harry Kane, I wouldn't sign anything. I wouldn't sign pre-contracts because a lot can change over the next season in terms of players getting injured, clubs making different decisions. We've seen how a season can go. So anything could happen at Real Madrid. Anything could happen at Barcelona. Anything could happen at these bigger clubs. Manchester United might not get the players they want. Chelsea might have a stinker and then, he's on the cards again. They might obviously bolster their squad. There's going to be so many different things that are going to occur. I would just sit tight, tell Spurs, listen, thank you for the offer. I'll consider it. Unless there's a time limit to it and thus I have to make a decision, I'm going to be cool. And if I was Spurs, I'd be comfortable with that. Let Postecoglou and the play that we're hopefully going to see this season make his mind up. If he sees that we're winning football and he can see some sort of, there's really good potential, then we even win something this season, it's everything. And he's got a 300k a week contract, let's say, everything would be in his court. Sid, let's get your thoughts on the Harry Kane saga then, and then just touch on the centre-back situation in terms of where you think we're at and what we need. But start with the Harry Kane as we can finish off.
Well, in terms of Harry Kane, right, you know what? There's always the agenda against him in every season, no matter how well he's doing. There's always links. Now, in his final year and Bayern, Tuchel's had a word with him. Apparently, we went to his house and had coffee and tea and whatever. But for Spurs to offer him a contract, which allegedly they're offering him a little, I don't know what it says, considerably more than what he's on. The guy's on 200 grand a week, right? This is the top Premier League goal scorer for how many seasons consistently. And there's players coming out of their nappies earning more than he's earning, right? Which is a disgrace. And Daniel Levy should realize that. There's players that nowhere near his levels are earning almost double. I'm sure Mason Mount's probably earning more than what he's going to be earning now.
Reportedly, 250 grand a week, Mason Mount.
There you go.
A 5-year contract.
And you've got the Premier League top scorer who's going to almost breaking records, whatever, and he's only on 200 grand. So if Kane wants to go, then fair play to him, because at the end of the day, he wants to go and win trophies somewhere, which he thinks he can at Bayern. Plus, he'll probably get a lot more money. But then if they hold him to ransom and do that, don't sign or we'll take it away kind of shit, then he's going to have to stay till the summer. And like Sean said, come January, he'll sign a massive, massive contract elsewhere. And the problem then we have is he going to give us that 100% after if he's in January and he's pre-signed with someone or whatever? I'm sure he will, but the rumors will start coming out and stuff like that. So that's the other issue. In terms of what you were saying about Real Madrid, Sean, I think he gets into that Real Madrid team all day long because he can be the new Benzema, and he can play up top, or he can just drift in and let Vinicius Junior and them boys do the running. Mbappe, he tends to play a lot on the wings. And I think if you ask Ancelotti, I think personally, deep down, he's got one more season left because he signed the contract with Brazil only from 2024. I think he'd rather have Kane there than Mbappe, to be fair, because he'll have less hassle with Kane and he knows exactly what he's going to get. So,
yeah, but he's not going to get Kane in time if he signed a pre-contract with Brazil.
Well, and that's true as well. Yeah, that's true. So whoever gets it, that's true as well. I mean, I'm on about now. Even if they decide now, like in the summer now, to say, you know what, let's go for it, kind of thing, and give Bayern a run for their money. But I don't know. I personally don't think Kane's gonna go. There's a lot of talk, and this is the same people talking week in, week out for the last how many years about Kane. I don't know.
Doesn't make sense. The Bayern thing to me, I can understand it from Bayern's perspective, yes, but why would they necessarily pay that money for Kane now? Because Daniel Levy's not gonna squeak at 60, 70. He's not gonna have talks there. It looks and appears to me that it's going to be upwards of probably 85, 90 with a conversation starts. Now, when we're talking that sort of money, player that's got a year left, as much as it's Harry Kane, you could Bayern Munich can go a season without Harry Kane and still probably win their league.
Yeah,
possibly the champ. You don't think?
Well, look, they only squeaked the title last season in the last 5 minutes of the last game.
Yeah,
and their top goal scorer last season was Gnabry, and he only scored 16 goals compared to previous seasons when Lewandowski's been scoring 30 plus for the last.
That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for, a Lewandowski replacement, and didn't get it in what they've got now.
Which does make the links much more feasible to me. So I think you dismiss them out of hand, I'm afraid.
Yeah. You can't dismiss them out of hand, but what I can think is logic to me. One, the Bundesliga doesn't appeal as much as, say, playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona. That's one thing. Definitely not. Yes, he could get a high salary because I've looked at the Bayern salaries and they are, for their players, they're all 200k plus, whatever it is. Yes, I can understand that perspective. Champions League, if they get Harry Kane, I think they've got a brilliant chance of winning it.
Mm-hmm.
They probably wouldn't win it without him based on what I've seen from other teams. Manchester City being the team that everybody's got to chase and beat down. But from a Harry Kane brand perspective, it doesn't make sense. To me, I just don't see that making sense to me. The German thing, and now it's going back a lot, but the German thing as well, England captain, I'm not saying that should play any part in it, but again, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's something that he needs to make that decision on now, unless, of course, he has categorically said that he wants to go. Pal, do you think that he wants to go this season, Harry Kane? Because there is too much smoke going on, but he hasn't come out and said anything. He's due back in Tottenham Way 12th of July, which is a week away. What's that conversation going to be like with Ange if he hasn't already had that conversation with him?
Who are you asking me?
Pab.
Yeah.
Get them headphones on, Pab. Get your headphones on. Jesus.
I'm sorry. I said this already. I don't think he's gonna go. I personally don't think that he's gonna go. I think, yes, he's getting the offers in and stuff. I don't see him leaving. I just don't. I genuinely see him either seeing his contract out or waiting until January, giving Postecoglou some time and seeing, maybe he can sign a new contract, or if he doesn't like it, then signing with someone else in January. That's what I see personally.
So what do you think Postecoglou is going to say? Because this is another good question I'll ask in a minute. That conversation, because when he's obviously comes into Tottenham Way, he's going to be like all the players, and you've seen the videos, everybody saying, hi, good morning, all the rest of it. Body language tells a lot. I saw the video today. Hugo Lloris just looked like very sheepish. Didn't want to even look at the cameras. He was on the bike. He kind of looked at it. He's not really a player that you can see staying much beyond the next few weeks at Spurs. A lot of the other players seemed quite happy and relaxed and all the rest of it. He didn't. If if I see the same sort of body language from Harry Kane, it would concern me, but I don't think he will, because he's that sort of player that I don't think is going to down tools anyway. But what's Postecoglou going to say to him that first day to kind of say to him, well, listen, Harry, I see your future here. What can he say, if anything? That's still to you,
oh yeah, sorry. I think he's going to show Harry Kane his vision. I think he's going to be like, look, Harry, this is what I want for the club. This is my plan. He needs to show some sort of passion and some sort of vision for Kane to be like, okay, I see that he's serious. Let's give it a go and let's see how this goes. He'll definitely like include him in like maybe, you know, certain decisions that they make, and I feel like him having Kane by his side and, you know, making sure that Kane understands what's going to happen within the next couple of months or so, I think that will kind of help with Kane's decision making. Because if Kane can see, right, Postecoglou's in and this is what he wants, this is what he's going to do, then Kane might be like, okay, he's serious, let's see, because this might actually work out.
It's got to be the level of player, though, because I think the level of player, Harry Kane wants to see the level of quality coming to Spurs. And yeah, it's all right saying that we've got players to fit systems, but if they're not names, is that going to keep him there? But I think he has to see what's actually going on. This is the question I'm going to start with you, Sid, and we can all have a bit of an answer on it, because I think making him captain this season would be a brilliant move, in my opinion. Hugo Lloris can't be captain because he's got to be off. I don't know necessarily if you want to put it on someone like Højbjerg, because I don't think he's going to be necessarily a first-team player, because he'd be the next person I'd kind of put in line. Dyer, no, I don't want to see him captain. Although he's probably got a lot of communication skills. Harry Kane would be my ideal captain this season. Sid, what's your thoughts on that?
So before I answer that one, right, you know, you just asked Pav about what words them two are going to have when they meet, yeah? So first things first, he's going to buy a house next to Harry Kane, yeah? And then the first words Postecoglou's going to say to him is, you know we belong together, you and I forever and ever. And he'll say, when good neighbors become good friends. No, do you know what? I mean, Romero could be an ideal, right? But I don't think he's ready yet to be a captain. No. But if you look at that team, I think there's only Harry Kane really that he can actually give it to him. And I think if he gives it to Harry Kane, I think that's an intent, because top goal scorer is regarded very highly. Every player is going to look up to him. And I think they'll listen to Harry Kane as well. You know what I mean? They'll listen to him, and as long as he's there, and I think he's the ideal choice. You can't have a goal. I don't want a goalkeeper ever to be our captain again, because Hugo Lloris was a disgrace as a goalkeeper. And then we've had this discussion many times last year on Talking Points and reaction shows. That guy never spoke to anyone, and it was always the other people's fault. He was first to blame people, but there was nothing from him as a captain to spur his players on, give them any confidence, chat to them. You know, there was nothing at all season. So I think Kane would probably be the ideal one. Højbjerg, there's a lot of discussion about him leaving, isn't there? So I don't think he's going to get captain's role. Apart from that, I mean, Oliver Skip. No, I'm joking. But I don't think there is anyone. That's
exactly the point about our squad.
Yeah.
Leaders. We don't have them.
No.
We don't have too many leaders by example, and we certainly don't have too many leaders of men. And this is why I think the type of player that we've got to get in has got to be that's got to be part of their makeup as well. It can't just be about the ability. It can't just be about the talent. They've got to show that high level of confidence and that also that leadership skill to be able to get the players around you to start backing up their ideas. Too many times we conceded goals and it's like the whole team's shoulders went like that. That game against Newcastle, I always refer back to that. That doesn't happen at under 8s level. It doesn't happen at under 8s level unless they've got one player less. We had 11v11 and we were 5 goals down within 20. That's just terrible. That's terrible.
Sam, what you said as well, every team or the top teams, they've got a captain or an equivalent at the back, in the middle, and maybe somebody who can up top. I think we're the only club that you can only probably think of one potential captain that we can think of, which is Harry Kane. The rest, you wouldn't trust them anywhere, would you?
Not the current squad. I want players if you don't, no, don't get me wrong. You don't have to shout and scream. You don't have to be one of them. You don't have to be a Roy Keane type. You know, but you lead by example. Harry Kane leads by example. Yes, he's vocal as well, but he's England captain for a reason. Top goal scorer, blah, all the rest of it. Tottenham's leading goal scorer. I think there's a bit of psychology here to be had. If I was Ange Postecoglou, I'd think about making that announcement now, even before he's back, saying blah blah blah. Unless, of course, there's conversations have been had in the background where they know he's not staying. But if they don't know, I would come out now in my next press conference. Who's your captain going to be? Because he's going to be asked that question. Harry Kane. I want Harry Kane to be my captain. England captain, Spurs captain, top leading goal scorer for Spurs, leading goal scorer for England. What more could he expect then? That's going to think, yeah, this guy rates me. Because I don't know why he wasn't made captain before. The Hugo Lloris captain was diabolical in my opinion. Sean, what's your thoughts on the captaincy? Harry Kane or another?
Is it really a debate? I can't imagine that. I think we've wasted about 10 minutes of airtime there. Of course, the captain of England, and he would have been the captain of Ireland if he'd done his right thing and declared for Ireland, as he should have done. But yeah, the captain of England should be the captain of Tottenham Hotspur, without a doubt. And yeah, you know, end of debate.
That's the first. That's good. Now we're moving on to Pav. Your thoughts then, and then we will move on very quickly.
I actually disagree. No, I'm joking. No, yeah.
Oh, you can tell it's end of term time, isn't it?
You want Davinson Sanchez as captain, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Teachers are already thinking about Mallorca,
aren't they? Yeah, you know what I mean. The 6 weeks or 8 weeks that they're gonna get in the sand.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, stop it.
No, I completely agree. I think Kane, I think it was a really bad move getting Lloris to be the captain. You shouldn't have a goalkeeper to be a captain. I mean, he's not, do you know what? He's not properly on that pitch playing. Do you know what I mean? So I think yeah.
He won the World Cup as captain.
Shush. But yeah, no, I think Kane would be a great leader. I personally think that he already acts the role of a captain anyway. I think give him the title and it'll be all set. But I mean, it's all going to change, isn't it, if he leaves? And I'm not being funny or nothing. If Eric Dyer stays, I really have a bad feeling that it might be him.
No.
He's not.
It's not.
It's me thinking negative, guys.
It's not. It's not going to be him. It can't. He's not going to play enough football, in my opinion. And if he does play enough football, then we haven't moved on. If Eric Dyer is playing consistent football in the back two for Tottenham this season, we haven't moved on.
If this is the summer, if this is the Bale summer, where we bought all these players in and we spent the money that we were going to get for Harry Kane, getting players in, there is another alternative. And he's the captain of South Korea.
Sonny.
But then, Sean, the problem with him is last season was disastrous. And then, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have a problem with him. But
well, I mean, we have had an excuse for last season, and I'm prepared to, accept it at face value that he was playing with a hernia.
His injury, that hernia injury that he had.
Yeah. I mean, why our medical team didn't make him go under the knife in September is another. I mean, that's another thing that needs addressing at Tottenham Hotspur. Medical.
I've said that many times.
It's shocking. But on that Son thing, so with Son, remember then a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was Harry Kane, we all thought Harry Kane was leaving after the last game of the season. I thought Son was primed to take over that role as striker. I thought he was primed to take over that number 9. Again, primed to be that face of Tottenham, which again, from a South Korean perspective, Asian perspective, he is. He's probably more known worldwide than probably Harry Kane is if you take into the market that, Son is in. And I would have thought the example by a player leading by example. He's very good in the press. He says the right things at times. He's also very honest about his own game when he's not playing so well. And I would have thought that would have been really good. So even if Harry Kane were to leave, again, that's something I would look at potentially. Would you move Son centrally, and then you could have potential to bring in other players from a wide perspective? Because we've already got a bit of an overload in wide players. If you think about it, particularly on that right-hand side, if you think about Jed Spencer, you think about Porro, and then you think about Kulusevski, you could possibly play Maddison off that right if you wanted to. On the left-hand side, we're a bit struggling a little bit on that side, but you could play one of them on that other side as well, make them inverted. You've got the likes of, who else have we got? Barisic. I'm not sure he's going to be a full-time player, but then saying that, we're not playing twice a week this year. We're going to be playing one game a week because it's only league games and then the cup games to come. So maybe Perisic can prove a little bit more in that forward position, not having to have more defensive responsibilities. There's still a lot of conundrums in there for me, but there's something, I agree with that, that there could be a possibility of something in that, Kane being left or gotten, whatever. Now, apart from Kane, the whole squad was disastrous last season, Sid. Tuggy Bear telling you that. Ange Ball, Richarlison as captain.
Nah.
Well, what's we thinking about this, Richard? Where's his head at? Because, he didn't have the best of seasons. That says probably an understatement there. He didn't have a great season last season. I expect him to have a better season this season. But again, he's going to need opportunities to play. Is he better off one of the wings in a Postecoglou system where you're hugging the touchline? I don't really see that as a Richarlison role. He can play on a wide area, but I don't think he's a touchline hugger. He's not an Aaron Lennon that could get chalk on his boots. Is he just going to be an understudy to Kane then, if Kane remains in situ as number 9? Or is there going to be some sort of rotation in there? What's your thoughts on Richarlison? Not as Richarlison as captain, but Richarlison in general for this season. Start with you, Pav, since you're in happy mode, holiday mode, kids and that.
I think with him, it's rotation. I'm not gonna lie. I think, don't get me wrong, he wasn't the best last season, but I think it's all down to opportunity and not playing with the right system. And I can see him playing decent under Ange. Let's see how it goes. Could be completely different. Who knows? But I think rotation, maybe he could potentially, let Son off sometimes, Son on the bench, him taking his role. Who knows? But we're not going to know until we see Ange Ball and see him in action.
I think in terms of his energy, I think he fits exactly what he wants. His goal scoring needs to improve and increase. But in terms of what you want from a player in that position, from a number 9 in the Ange system, he's ideal. He'll give you that, and he'll chase things down. He'll make sure the pressure's up from the front. Now, if we had a mixture of him and, let's say, the finishing of Son, Richarlison would be the best player to have in this league from that perspective. But his goal scoring doesn't match up to that. Sean, what's your thoughts on Richarlison this season?
It's a big season for him, definitely. I mean, I mean, we'll talk about players being honest. He's very honest about himself. He's gone on record and said that he's not happy with his contribution last season. I don't know. He's going to have to take his opportunities. I mean, in years gone by, when we assumed that Kane would always have 5 or 6 weeks out of the season, he would have got a chance. But Kane seems to have, Kane is not the vulnerable ankle player that that we used to have, and now he seems to be. I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult, I mean, again, he's acting as a break before the likes of Parrott and Scarlett, So I don't know. He can play wide, but he tends to work best wide left rather than wide right. And we've already got Son. We've got this new boy who's undergoing his medical tomorrow, Solomon. And it's a it's a difficult one to sort out. I mean, it will become clearer over pre-season, I suppose, and we'll see what he can deliver, and what opportunities he's going to get. It's not helped the fact that we're not in Europe.
No, that hasn't helped his cause. And the price tag as well, I don't think it's helped him, because, you know, people are going to say, oh, £60 million on the bench, £60 million player on the bench. Have we got another Ndombele on our hand? Blah, 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 all the rest of it. So he's a big season for him. But I can't see him pushing, if Kane stays, I can't see him pushing for that number 9 spot week in, week out. And is there going to be enough rotation in there for him to play enough games to be able to get his confidence up? Like you said, can he play off the left sometimes? Can he? I just don't want him to be a bit part player. I just want him to have an opportunity. Again, we have players in our squad that haven't really had the opportunity through the last regime. His conversation with Ange is going to be interesting. Is he going to say to him, I need to play? Is he going to say to him, what do you think about what's going to be happening? Is Ange going to say to him, listen, I've got a plan for you? Or as people are asking here, if the money came in, would you grab it? Sid, what's your thoughts on Richarlison? Would you take 50 million from him? Do you see him playing a major role this season? Or was he just going to have to fit in where he can?
Do you know what? For me, from August, the next 5 months are going to be massive for Richarlison in terms of playing. If he doesn't get the game time, or if he does get the game time and he doesn't deliver, I think come January, I think there'll be a lot of questions raised, because last season, yes, you know, we can say he was unlucky, whatever, but he didn't score a single goal in the Prem. So I think he'll get till January. However, if a bid does come in from Madrid, like people are saying, or there's anticipated bids coming in from them, I don't know, I'd take the money. I'd take the 60. If they offered 50 or 60, I'd take it. And like you guys have said, Pav said it, Sean said it, it's going to be massive for him now between now and January. And you can't really see him being a starter, because Kane's going to be the main man if he's still there. The system Postecoglou's going to play, is he going to be able to fit in there? And like Pav said, I think he's going to be a non-starter. He's going to be one of them impact players. And the most important thing is Richarlison going to be happy being an impact player when he's the main striker for Brazil? Is he going to be happy with just doing that? So I think it's going to be a very, very pivotal 5 to 6 months for Richarlison from August.
There's one thing it's just come to my mind, and it's following Ange at Celtic last season, was that he tends to do a series of substitutions at 70 minutes. This is the length that he does his training sessions for, where he works them very, very hard. And you know, the idea is that there was that quote, you know, we never stop. And so players will get burnt out, and he does replace them with 20 minutes to go. So that could be where Richarlison gets his opportunity. Kane comes off and Richarlison goes through the middle, and that could be an opportunity for him. I mean, if he's going to follow the Celtic blueprint, and he kind of, there is a blueprint, but he does adjust it at times. Yeah, I think he uses this, I mean, attention to detail. I mean, our ball boys are going to, be part of the team next season. They're going to have to be regurgitating that ball to the throw-ins and the corners as fast as possible. Yeah, because
and just touching on that, the thing about the wide players, although we talked about them hugging the touchline, I've watched some of the games. They don't always do that. Sometimes they do come inside, and some of the eights go on the outside, and sometimes even the right back comes on, or the left back, depending on what side it is. The other point to make, if the ball is on that other side, your winger then has to travel inside to be in the box as one of the scoring players anyway. So again, depending on how we play, what teams we play, you might not find that we have the Manchester City wide men that just stay wide depending on what happens with the ball, because they have the ball so much. We might have to play slightly differently because we might not maintain as much possession. We might need to play a little bit more inside forwards at times. I don't know. This is all the stuff that we don't know. And if that's the case, I see someone like, that's why I put this comment up here, because that's a good point we talked about at the end of our last show, is that Kulusevski could primarily be played as an 8, depending, because he does have that ability, I think, to play in the system with the Ange system in an 8, because if we're high up the pitch, you don't expect them to have to be box to box. That means that there's going to be an opportunity on the right. But I also think that Porro is going to be looked at as being a wide right player. Potentially even Jed Spence might be looked at as being a wide right player. Is that going to be Richarlison that, we're talking about? And again, all these things are going to happen and we're going to see over the next few weeks anyway. So I'm leaving it in the hands of those that know more than me. What happens with Ndombele this season? Do you want a quick few minutes on that? What happens with the Nando's card eating whatever? I'm not going to say that. Well, that's wrong. I don't know is the honest word. I don't know. It all depends on him. If I'm going to go by past experience, I don't see him having the longevity in terms of consistently playing at that level that he's wanted to play at in the system that I think we're going to play. He has his moments. He'll play it, and then he won't. And it's like, okay, I don't want to do that. Yeah, the ball's around me. I'll play. No, I don't want to do that today. You know what? Oh, I don't fancy. And that's the sort. You can't have that. You can't have that this season. Pav, do you see him having a season at Spurs, or is he going to be moved on?
I completely agree with you. I think he's not going to be consistent enough. I think he'll have his moments and then he will just be one of those players that just isn't it, to be honest. I just think that instead of just saying, yeah, Ndombele, let's give him a shot, I think let's just send him away now. I don't think he's going to fit into Ange's system at all. No, it's true. I'm not mean.
Be gone, Ndombele.
60 million pounds. Bye.
Expelliarmus, go. That's what you're basically saying, isn't it, Pav? Just make him disappear. Yeah. Sid, before I come to Sean, Sid, Ndombele, your favourite player. What are you saying?
Do you know what? I don't know what the situation is. Napoli have bid 20 million. They've said no, apparently. I don't know how true that is. And Postecoglou wants to have a look at him. I don't see where he fits into this system. Now we've got Maddison as well. I don't know what he's going to see different. I'm sure he must have had his reports from whoever's there about him. So I think you're trying to sell something like a dead sheep, aren't you, really? It's done. It's done. He's got to go. He's got to walk out that door. He's got to turn around. He's not welcome anymore. Got to go. I think he's got to go.
Like Pav says, poof, you're gone, fam.
Yeah.
Sean.
The thing is, the longer we leave it, right, how long are you going to give him a trial till? Because then the window opportunity shuts. Yeah. And then you're going to get less and less time. We've had over a year or whatever to get rid of him, and we haven't. So if you're now going to give him a trial, at what point do you say, do you know what? That's it now. I need to sell you. Because knowing Spurs, they're going to drag it until 1st of September and then transfer deadline day done. Sorry.
Like in the old days of football, 1 week trial. Give him a 1 week trial.
I'm telling you.
That's it.
Yes.
If you don't perform in the 1 week trial, you can play behind the behind closed doors games, whatever training matches. I think he'll know enough within a week of training that if Ndombele is up for it, because this player hasn't been playing anything over the summer. They should have come back relatively fit. They haven't lost anything too much, so they're not like they have to get up to speed in their fitness. These players don't come back a stone overweight. That doesn't happen now in modern football. So they're relatively fit now. Yes, the peak of their fitness will come later, but the training will be able to show. Sean, another of your favourite players. What's your thoughts about Ndombele?
NS Mura is burnt into my brain. NS Mura and Morecambe substitution. Morecambe substitution.
How can we forget that?
However, I'm going to make a case for Ndombele. And it's this. No, not a suitcase either. It's the
defense case.
No, it's the same thing for Richarlison. A tired opponent that have been run ragged by Ange's fast football. Ange comes up against one of the best one of the best passers, one of the best tricksters as a number 8. Now there is a possibility. I'm not saying it's. I think 1 week's too little. I think if he doesn't go on the plane, then we'll know. If he's not on the plane to Perth, then we'll know.
And they go what, the 15th? Yeah, so that's about 10 days time. 10 days time they should go.
If you just stay, I'm going to sit next to you, Sean, every time we go to watch Spurs at home. Right? I'm going to sit next to you, and I want to listen to what you're going to be saying about him.
Hey, I did say he comes on at the 70th minute. He doesn't start.
Sean's got a seat near me this season. And if he's there and he has a stinker, I'm going to say, oi, remember what you said on that show, Sean? That's what I'm going to tell him, because I think he's done. I can't. I'd love to give him another chance.
You know, I think I'm speaking with forked tongue here. You know, I think he's done. But I'm making a case.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm making a case that he could be the 70th minute, 20 minutes. I'm not saying he starts against Brentford,
There is a case to be made, and you're quite right. There's a case to be made for Reguilon. There's a case to be also made for Lo Celso. Brian Hill, in fact, playing that wide role. There's so many players that we could do that with, but have we seen enough of them to think to ourselves, are we going to give him another chance? Are we going to give him another opportunity to prove himself or to not prove himself? And I think with Ndombele, even when he went and played at Napoli, I watched games where, he was the best player on the pitch, but then I also watched games when he just looked like, I've had enough of this. I don't want to play. And this is the point. He was in a team that won the league. You would have thought to yourself, seeing that progression over the season, he's way with it. I'm going to play at the top because I want to get into this team. But he didn't even have that. And maybe that's got something, I don't know, to do with the 200 grand that he's on a week for the next couple of years or so for his contract.
That man is on 200 grand a week, same as Harry Kane.
That's what I'm saying.
That buys you an awful lot of Big Macs.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
And there is the story about someone who was at his house and his bin was full of McDonald's wrappers. So.
I've heard that rumor as well. And it's terrible to have to put a player into that situation who's being paid 200 grand, who you would think is his fitness in question. No footballer, in my opinion, should have questionable fitness if you're fit. And what I mean by that, obviously, that's an obvious statement. But you shouldn't be at a professional club and they tell you you're not fit enough. What in the F are you doing Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday? You can't. If they pay me that money, I'm seeing every single person. I'm taking every single legal supplement I can. I'm doing everything that I can to be at the top of my game to play football, because that's what ultimately you that's what you want to do is your job, your profession.
You know what they're doing, don't you? Monday to Friday, don't you?
Keep it
Met
clean.
this girl on Monday, took her for a drink on Tuesday.
Yeah, again, Kim only coming on for 20 minutes. Is that what he would want? Does he feel I think he feels he's better. The problem with Ndombele for me is I think he just wants everything to be built around him. Now, he could go to a club, and if everything was built around him and he was a free role player and all he has to do is get on the ball, like a Messi, but he's not a Messi. He's not that player. He's not that guy. But I think he believes that he could have a team built around him and he doesn't have to do everything, because when the ball's at his feet, it works wonders. But and you might be able to do something. I don't know.
Won't the question be asked again about, again, it's happening where you've got players that have been sent out on loan and then you brought them back and then giving them a chance and you're not getting rid of them.
They're on too much money, Sid. This is the problem.
Groundhog Day, but it's like Pav said, abracadabra, he's gone. It's got to be.
Expelliarmus.
Exactly.
And he's probably, you're going to have to do it probably 2 or 3 times to get rid of him. I want you to do the same thing with Dyer, please, because I can't, I'm really nervous about this back 2 thing. I really am. I'm really nervous about it. Yeah, we'll have to have another show. What our next show will do? Obviously, are you going to do something on Friday transfer-wise? Because you might have some transfers in. Do you think so or not?
I'll do one tomorrow evening.
He sounded enthusiastic because
I've been away. I've not been well and that, so I want to do Madison as well and stuff like that. So because I'm having interesting debates with Man United fans and all sorts about Madison and Mount and stuff like that. So you know what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, we'll cover that. We'll cover some of the incomings, rumored players leaving as well, and rumored players coming in. And I know you asked me earlier, but I'm still not 100% that we're going to end up with a centre back because all this nearly done. We're talking personal freeze agreed. It's now between the clubs.
Oh,
Now
that's it. Come on, we're going to
I
end
think,
up with
guys,
a
I'm going to need to
centre-back.
spread a bit of positivity.
You know what? I agree we will end up with one, but it's going to be that usual thing where apparently now there's 3 clubs after this guy that we're after. So I just want it done and dusted. Stop pissing around. You know what we need when we need it and why we need it. Go and get it done. Simple.
Yeah. The
Simple.
thing with me is James Maddison, great sign. I like that. Obviously, keeper looks like he's going to be a good player for us. So hopefully that works out. Great signing as well. But if we don't, had we addressed the centre back situation first and gone in that order, I would have been happy because it would have been done first, and then you would have known that come pre-season going on the plane that's been sorted. My thoughts are we ain't gonna get them over the line before they go next week potentially, and if they don't, I'm stopping. Positivity, like Pav said, positivity. They are gonna get it done. We're gonna get at least one centre back in before next week, and we'll get one out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Dyer just frightens me. If you want to put some comments in the comment section, make sure you do, people. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to be making some changes. We'll probably be streaming from our new channel, PRTv, very soon, and also this over the transitional period, as we've been saying for a long time. But it's going to be happening soon, so look out for that. What else have we got to look out for? Great chat, Sam, Sid, Pav, and Sean. Thank you very much, Dino. It's a pleasure, as always. We like to do that. And we can all chat here, so it's not a problem, really.
Yeah. If you want a live watch along of the West Ham game in Perth, can you put that in the comments? Because I could do that on Spurs Play. And
David's got a new picture. Is that a new picture?
No, I don't think so.
No.
He's just he looks fresh faced. Yes,
he looks fresh faced on that. He's
put a filter on it. Pav, tell us which one it is. You know, you're the queen of the filters.
No.
On that note, I think final thoughts from yourself, Pav, on the transfer window so far.
I think we've been doing great business so far. I think we need to keep it up. We definitely need a centre back. Get rid of Dyer. Send Ndombele on his way, like I just said, and bring on Anjay Ball. I am excited. I can't wait. Let's see what happens.
Anjay Ball, just added a little accent to it as well. Anjay Ball, I like that. I like that a lot. Sean, final thoughts on the transfer window so far?
Actually, Pav's probably quite right because his full name is Angelos, Greek name. So yeah, it might be Anjay. Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
I like it.
He just got called Ange up here, so it was, he didn't seem to take umbrage to it. So yeah, let's just look forward to what's coming ahead, and let's hope that we can get off to a good start.
Lovely. And Sid says, what does Sid say? Transfer window so far.
Maddison was 3 seasons too late, but we finally got him for more than what we could have paid for him back in them days. I still think I think for the price, I think he's a bargain for us to have. And I just can't wait for that.
Sid, do you think that Maddison would have been cheaper 3 seasons ago?
He was cheaper than 40 million when he was at Norwich. He was offered to him for less than 40.
Yeah, but he wasn't at Norwich 3 seasons ago.
Well,
he was at Leicester.
You know what I meant.
5 years he's been at Leicester.
You know what I meant. When he was at Norwich, we could have got him, but we didn't, thanks to Daniel Levy. However, I can't wait for him and Kane partnership, man. I think you know what, people are underestimating the importance of that signing for Spurs. For 40 million, that's a bargain. Absolute bargain.
I agree with that. It's what we needed. If you pay 40 million for what you need, that's a bargain, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Paid 60 million for a player that we don't quite need. It's not quite a bargain, is
this is it. And this is a signing that we've been needed for a while since Eriksen's gone. And I think finally we've got him. And he seems to be very excited. All these lot are saying, oh, well, it just proves, doesn't it? Nobody else went in for him, blah, 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 blah. You know what? It is what it is. Haters will be haters no matter what. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see him because he looks so excited to be in that Spurs shirt. and I think it's going to be interesting start to the season with him. Man United second game of the season. Man United first home game of the season, mate.
Oh, it's excitement. That's the thing. That's the exciting thing. That's a good home game for us to go to first game of the season. Man, you. Oh, it's going to be tasty. But we've got a long way to go and a lot of things to happen before that point. We might be crying a lot if we don't have certain players in our team. We might be crying a lot if we do have certain players in our team. So I'm just going to hold fire until the season starts. Pav, Sean, Sid, fabulous. Look out for Sid.
I've just opened a steakhouse by the look of it.
I know, she has, ain't she?
Salt Bay.
Salt Bay. Pav Bay. Positive. It's got positive.
Pav's on some sprinkling dust business today, man. What's going on? What is going on? Let me start again. Thank you very much to the viewers, firstly, for watching. Smash that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get the news about our new channel coming up as well. But thanks to Pav, thanks to Sean, thanks to Sid. That is it. Got to find the music. What have we done? 1 hour 26. That's been a good show today. Make sure you keep supporting us, and we will be here very soon again. Come on, you Spurs.
Cool.